joining us.
Hello. Let me figure out how
Hello.
to turn my camera on.
Okay.
Um, okay. Hey, there I
Hello.
am. Hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice
Hi.
to see
Hi.
you. I love the color of your hair. I love it. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I
So
love the
I
lips.
just,
I love. Are we both in the red? Yes. I love the
yes.
lips.
Yeah, to kind of brighten it up, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I had to get on my other phone. Um, I wanted to have
yes.
like both of the phones so I can have one to record, but the one that I'm like doing this live on, um, it's like the storage is like full, so I couldn't like record anything. So yeah.
Um, I think that the live, I think there will be a recording available of this live.
Oh, okay, good.
I believe so. Yeah. So I'll take a look after we finish, and I can probably get that over to you.
Okay, great, awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be great.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Okay.
I'm very shy. I'm so nervous.
I know it's. Oh, I couldn't tell by your videos though.
Everyone says that, but I am. Oh my gosh, I'm so shy. I'm so nervous.
I know. It's I think anytime you go live or anytime you put yourself out there, I think it's always going to be those initial feelings of like, we don't know, right? And I think it's
Hmm.
normal to feel this way. I mean, I'm feeling the same way,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's good
So
to know.
we've got people coming in. And I've just been kind of like talking and sharing what our topic is going to be about. But we can go ahead and get started. Because I think that people will come into the live as they hear our conversation as they're scrolling,
Hmm.
and if they're interested, they'll come in and they'll listen. And I'm hoping that there'll be some interaction and questions and comments. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
someone just asked a question. I don't know. It was kind of soon, but someone asked what is the definition of a woman. So I'm like, uh, let's get
Oh,
back to that question a little
I
bit
think that's a
later.
topic in itself.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So I'm gonna start off by just introducing myself. I'm here on the platform as the Counseling Lounge. That's the name of my practice. My name is Cheryl Lynn, and I've been a therapist for many years now. I have my own private practice in Connecticut, and I work primarily with children ages 12 and older. Young adults is my primary population, and it can range from relational conflict and work issues, raising children, depression. It could be a range of a lot of things, but most of the work that I do with people is relational
Okay.
conflict and kind of working through those issues. And so I I've had a lot of these kind of conversations about motherhood, right?
Hmm.
And I've had a lot of clients who do not have children, and they've been kind of analyzing whether or not they should enter into the role of motherhood, right? And this is also based on their experiences that they had with their mom, right? So I've had a lot of conversations behind closed doors. And so when I was scrolling one day and I saw your video, the one that has a lot of views right now, right? Like at this point, what
Yeah.
is it, over like 1 million views?
Yeah, I think like 1 point, yeah, 1 point something.
Yes. And so,
I can't
yes,
keep up with the comments, and I try to like
right.
check in every day with the comments, but it's
Yes.
hard.
Yes, yes. So I saw the video, this viral video, um, and it was the honesty that caught my attention. I just could not believe what I was reading. So of course I love to see people stand out and take a chance and be a little risky. I just love that. So as soon as I saw your video, that's when I reached out to you, and I'm like, yeah, you're talking my language, and this conversation needs to be had because the reason why I'm so concerned about this conversation also is because I have a soft spot for children as well. Like I
Yes.
value young people, right?
Yes.
So it's just so important to be so honest and stop pretending that, and I'm not suggesting that everybody's pretending, but I think that, like, we celebrate motherhood, we get so excited about the baby showers, and but we're not really looking at the outcome.
Hmm.
It's not so much. I mean, I understand celebrating a new life is a wonderful thing, right? It's supposed to be. But we also have to look at the outcome.
Yeah.
We can't just celebrate the birth. We have to, there's a whole process
There's a
in
whole
raising a
process.
child.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
what
we
what are they going
become
to turn? Yes.
and we have to we have to raise them into adults. They don't stay children forever.
Yes.
There's a point
Yes.
in time where you have to share them fully with the world.
Yes.
And that's where
Absolutely.
my hashtag birth liabilities raise assets, because sorry.
There's just
Um,
comments coming in. Yes.
that's where I can't see the comments. So you'll have to
Okay.
I can
Okay.
only
Yes.
see who's coming in, but I can't see like any comments. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, that's where my hashtag birth liabilities raise assets comes in, because eventually we have to share them with the world. And uh, it's it, and I know a lot of people say, you can only do the best that you can,
Mhm.
but you can't do
Yep.
the best that you can if you're not the best person. If you're not the best person yourself.
Right.
If your parents, like you said,
Yes.
you have clients that in who share their relationships with their mothers. So
Mhm.
if you're not the best, you can't create your child to be the best. So
Absolutely. And you need time to do that. And so the
you
other
do.
thing is that I see a lot of women in their 30s on TikTok or even Instagram who have come forward and said, "Listen, I don't want children." Some of them are married and some of them are not. And when they go on TikTok or go on any live social media platform to say that, they get a lot of flack, a lot of
Yeah,
pushback.
yeah,
Why? So these
yeah.
these are women who have taken the time to figure out that this is not a job that they want.
Exactly. We're indoctrinated, that
Yes.
because it's part of our biology that we should want to have children. And we, even in like the comments
Exactly.
on the other video prior to the one that you were speaking on, the one that said, I don't support um, women having
Yes.
children. Even on that video, and people are just like, well, then who's gonna have them? Well, I mean, obviously, women. It's in our biology, but we don't need to
Yes.
indoctrinate that into um, our girls from birth. Like
Yes.
it from school to your doctors to
Right.
TV to your parents to the books that you read. It's women are here to be mothers. and
Basically. That's it. Right.
it's some of us
Yes.
just don't, some of us don't want to, some of us
Right.
shouldn't. um and not
Yes.
saying that we shouldn't because we can't, but we shouldn't just because we shouldn't.
That's
I feel
exactly.
like being a mother is a job that you know um it's really hard. So it you have to be really a chosen one, to do it.
Exactly.
And because you're
Yes.
gonna go through the woes. The people who are like, oh, it's magical and it's beautiful all the time. Like, let's be realistic. You're gonna go through the woes, mentally, physically, spiritually,
Yes.
emotionally.
Yes.
And if you're not doing a good job at it. You have to go through the walls. In my
That's good.
personal opinion, I like to put that out there so people aren't like cancel, cancel, cancel. But I like to put
Exactly.
that out there. In my personal opinion, um, if you're not going through the walls at some point in time, and that's whether you have a village, you don't have a village,
Right.
it doesn't matter. Um,
Absolutely.
you're not doing it right.
Right. I like when you put in the video that went viral. I like when you said something in that post about real mothers know. That
Hmm.
caught my attention too because you're right. If you're fully parenting and mothering your children, yes, you're going to
Yeah.
be able to relate to what you're saying. If you're doing it the way that you're supposed to be doing it. Some
Yeah.
people aren't fully parenting, right? They're kind of skating by. They're not really putting their 150% into it. We've got mothers like that too. And they don't have, I don't think they experience the pressure as much because they're not giving it their all,
Hmm.
right? So that's something that's stuck out. And I just wanted to just keep the comments coming. We do have some comments coming in, and I will get to the comments afterwards. I do want to ask our guest, Coach Faedra, some questions. Um, so keep posting your comments. I see them, and we will get to them. And I want to say thank you for your likes. Thank you for sharing the live. And yeah, let's keep this conversation going. Um, all right. So before I start asking you any questions, do you have anything that you want to say in terms of your opening statement, like in terms of just introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'll introduce myself. So, yeah, my name is Phaedra. I am I'm a mother of four. I am,
Okay.
yes, I am a single mother of, I lost you.
Oh,
Well, says she'll be back
oh,
soon.
you know
Okay.
what? Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there
Probably
you
because I
go.
was getting ready to respond to. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, so yeah, I am a single mother. I will put that out there. I am a
Mm-hmm.
single mother of four, recently divorced. I am a
Mm-hmm.
published author, an entrepreneur, and a mom
Oh.
coach. Um, I coach single mothers um, on how
Mm.
to still be themselves and also be
Right.
mothers. And also, I coach young women about 16 to 20 on
Mm.
why not to become a mother.
I like that. That's a
So,
perfect age. Yes.
yeah, perfect
Okay.
age. So,
Awesome.
yes, perfect age.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask the first question. Um, did you want to become a mother? Why
I
or
did.
why not?
I did.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I, growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. Primarily, that was what I wanted to be. But
Yes.
I like I said, we're all indoctrinated, women, especially Black women. Happy Black History Month. But yes, Black women,
Yes.
we
Yes.
are indoctrinated. I grew up in a Haitian American household. And in my culture, as a woman, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor. If you don't have a family, you haven't done your job. You haven't completed your purpose.
Mhm. Yep.
So I did want to become a mother, not only because of society, but because I did feel like it was my purpose to bring forth
Okay.
children. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. I would say the same. I wanted to have children as well. I had a child, but I would have wanted to have more at
Okay.
that particular time. Probably for the similar reasons as you. Um, so you mentioned that you're recently divorced. When did you know you were considering motherhood?
Um, I knew young. I knew young that I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to
Okay.
have a family. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted, yeah, I come from a family of seven.
Yes.
I'm the
Oh.
oldest girl in my family of seven, so I knew young that I wanted to be a mother and have a
Well, what was
family.
your right? What was your understanding though? So at that time, there must have been something that shaped you along the way, right? So what was your perception of motherhood that made you feel like, yes, I want to do this?
I wanted a family. I wanted to be. I wanted that family.
Okay.
I
Okay.
come from a family. I was raised by my mother and my father. We were raised in
Mm,
a big house. Um, yeah, so we went to church every Sunday. We had family
yes.
dinners every night. Sitting at the table.
Right.
So I wanted a family.
Okay, so family is something that you value and that's why you're a mom.
Yes, I value
Okay.
family. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So, do you feel like you stumbled into parenthood or were you prepared? Because a lot of us I stumbled into parenthood.
I stumbled into it. Although I
Okay.
was married and I was with my husband. We absolutely stumbled into it. Yes. I don't feel you can really be prepared for parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
There's steps you can take um,
Right.
to get yourself ready, but parenthood is one of those things that it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
a roller coaster that you unfortunately can't get off of. Um,
Right.
you just got to
I
keep
like
on
that
riding
phrase.
it.
You said can't get off, and that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
It's everlasting, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, the one thing that comes to my mind, like when I became a mom, obviously I was young and unprepared, but financial is like that was for me, that was like the biggest pain point for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I
like the
feel
focus.
like
It's like financial. Yes.
I tell my girls all the time. I feel like the financials obvious. It's like one of those things that are like
Yeah.
you as a human, you as an adult, you need money. You need
Exactly.
to eat, and in order to eat, you have to pay, and in order to pay, you have to have
Exactly.
money. So I feel like
Yep.
the financial is really obvious. What's underrated and missed a lot is the mental. It's one of those things that
Mm-hmm.
it it
Yep.
completely can take over your
Absolutely.
mental.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
and and some days are great and some days aren't. Some days are all right,
Mm-hmm.
some days are okay,
Mm-hmm.
some days are bad. It's one of those
Right.
things that completely can take control of your mental.
Mm-hmm.
And as it
Right.
should, because you're not only focused on just your mental. You're focused on your child, and if you have more than one child, you're focused on multiple children. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
I,
I
I
was
feel
looking.
like
I don't know if
that's
you.
one of those things that are
Yeah.
missed.
Absolutely. I don't know if you follow or ever seen her profile name is My Therapist Life, Black woman on
I
TikTok.
don't
She has a
think
pretty
so.
large following. So she is child free. She talks about it a lot, how she never had children and she doesn't want to have children. Um, and she had brought up a really good point the other day. I had caught part of her live the other night, and she was talking about when you have multiple children, and she was saying that because every child is different, there are pieces of you that have to be able to respond to those differences,
Yeah.
right? So yes, and I only have one, so I don't know what it's like to have multiple children, but I do know that each child is different. And
Yeah.
so, therefore, not only do you have to be mentally prepared and mentally healthy for yourself, if you have one, two, three, four, you've got to be mentally healthy for each child and respond to their differences in a healthy way. So
Yeah.
that adds another layer of pressure.
Even if it means jeopardizing things that could potentially trigger you. For
Exactly.
example, my I when it comes to like loving my children and loving just people and that I keep close to me in general, I like to
Right.
love people based off of their love language. But
Right.
um, with people who are not my children, I can choose not to operate and have those people a part of my life. If
Right.
loving them based on their love language triggers my love languages. But with my children, I can't do that. I can't be like, hey, well, get out, gotta go. So I'm stuck loving them based off of their love language, although and in each of them have different love languages.
Yes.
And although those love languages may trigger mine,
Yes.
such as two of my children, theirs is physical touch. Number one being physical touch. They love hugs and they love kisses and they love to just lay
Yep.
up and cuddle under me. And
Yes.
physical touch is my least favorite love language.
Good point.
So those things are hard because as a mother and I want to add as a parent, but it is different for mothers than it is for fathers. But that's another
It is.
conversation in itself as well.
That is another one.
But
Yes.
as a parent, um, you're setting aside a lot in most of the things you that just make you
Mm-hmm.
to be to in order to make and form them those children that you have. I
Absolutely.
always look at like the parents with mothers with one children, and I'm like, oh God, how blessed you are to have, the one child because, yeah, children absolutely can absolutely be a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And can absolutely keep you, can absolutely change you and
Yes.
make you who you are. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yep.
they can also do the opposite. So,
That's the awareness that we want to bring forward, is that they can be a blessing or otherwise. I don't want to say,
mhm.
I mean, it's bitter. It can be bittersweet. Like it's
Yeah,
there are people that believe that all children, all babies, all they're all a blessing, and they are, but the experience might not bring out that experience of feeling like it's a blessing, right? It might not feel that way,
yeah,
but and that's something that we just need to be okay with saying. It doesn't mean
yeah,
you don't love
exactly.
your children or you love them any less. Like for me, I when I the reason I it's funny, I never just intended to have one child is because I got divorced and I didn't get remarried, and I'm like, I just knew that the single motherhood wasn't for me, like once I was in the role. So that's primarily the reason why I have one child. It's not like I really chose that, right? It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
that's just how life unfolded for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do it again as a
And
single. I just didn't.
I
Yeah.
totally get that because I'm a single mother now, but I was I was married with all four of my children. So
Yes.
I would not have chosen this role as a single
Yeah.
mother. I would not
Right.
have I tell my cousin all the time, like, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to be a mother, part of a family. Not a mother by
Exactly.
myself.
Right.
So I totally get that. And did I want to be a mother? Yes, absolutely. But if I knew I would have to eventually sign up for single motherhood, I would have went the one child route and not the four child route. So
Got it. Got it. Okay. Got it.
yeah.
That's very honest. Yes. How do your kids respond when you how do your kids respond to these conversations? Like,
Um,
are they able to understand?
yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
sharing live.
Uh,
Thank you.
so my
Yes.
3-year-old is still like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't even care what you're talking about, mom.
Right.
My two oldest, they get it, because they, I've always been the type to, be open, be I focus on feelings and emotions a lot,
Mm-hmm.
with my children because, um, they were there in the midst of, the separation and the divorce. And
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, I didn't have the time, because I was having to be the
Yeah.
provider, a mother, and also deal with my feelings and emotions. So
Yes.
I couldn't just take 5 minutes and cry in the bathroom, because there was four kids running
Right.
around, and a baby.
Right.
There was three kids running around and a baby crawling around.
Right.
So
Right.
I eventually just had to cry and have those emotions and those fits,
Mm-hmm.
in front of them. And
Right.
at that time and at that age, it was only them two that were able to understand when I come back and I apologize and I tell them,
Mm-hmm.
why I'm feeling that way. And, they
Right.
were homeschooled at the time as well. So then, making it a lesson on learning words and the meanings of words and, telling them,
Right.
well, mom was overstimulated, mom became overwhelmed, and what are the meanings of those
Yes.
words? And so the two oldest, they're they're very, open to the conversation. Um,
Yes.
they they get it. Um, be
Okay.
they get it. We
Right.
focus a lot on like personal space. So even them sometimes they're like, all right, I need all of you guys to get out of my room, because you
Mm-hmm.
guys are too much right now. Just get out.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
mom,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit outside because the
Right.
kids, the kids, like all of them call each other the kids. They don't call each other siblings. They call each other
Right.
my kids. My
Right.
daughter calls her brothers her boys. So she's like, my boys are stressing me out, mom. I'm going to sit in my room.
Oh
um,
wow. Okay.
so, and my daughter, she wants to have kids.
Okay.
She knows that, they can get annoying and things can get a
Mm-hmm.
lot. She has like, now at this point, she has six kids, six baby dolls.
Okay. So she's getting ready.
Um,
Okay.
so, she wants to have kids, and, every time she brings it up, I'm just like, we sit down and we talk, and I'm like, but didn't you tell me that Mirabelle did this today and did that today? What if she keeps doing it? Isn't that annoying? Isn't that like
Right.
just a lot? And she gets it. She
Yes.
gets it. And
Yes.
she's like, yeah, but it's okay because, kids are annoying. So,
Okay. So she's
so
okay.
they get it.
Yes. I think it's. I
And
mean, it's.
we're in family
Yeah.
therapy, so it helps a lot, to
Okay.
be able to just have those conversations.
Well, that's good that you're doing the therapy too, and that's really good. Um, and I just wanted to say, those who are watching, if you like what you're hearing, please tap the screen. I thank you for the share. I think it's your future hood lawyer shared the live. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. But tap the screen. Tap tap tap. This is a really important topic. We're talking about motherhood, the whole truth, and this is a raw and uncut conversation. Uh, thank you. Thank you. So, oops. Here we go. Um, when did you realize that motherhood didn't serve you well, or it like wasn't serving you? Was there like an aha moment, or did something happen? Did you know what I mean? Like there had to be this moment where it just hit you that this isn't.
When my second son was born, well, a few months after he was born, we had a family emergency,
Mm-hmm.
that he was part of. It was very traumatic. Um,
Okay.
it was very very troubling. So yeah,
Yeah.
after my second was born, and then with my first, the pregnancy was amazing. I had planned an
Mm-hmm.
amazing birth, um,
Okay.
the whole nine, but the birth ended up not going the way I had planned, which is fine. Um,
Yes.
and my second was a surprise. They're Irish twins, so he was a
Yes.
surprise. Um, and then when he was born, his pregnancy was great as well, but his birth wasn't so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was about 4 months, we
Mm-hmm.
had that incident, and at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I was just like, yeah, I don't, I, I'm not really feeling this. There's like a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And not like even with like finances or like or anything like material. It was just more so my emotions of
Right.
like just my baby's hurt, like
Yes.
my baby, and things not going as I planned.
Right.
And yeah, it was just emotions were just like I said, that emotional roller
Yes.
coaster. It was a lot for me. And at that point I was like, unless I'm in therapy for the rest of my life, like I don't think that this is something that like I could handle.
Right.
And at that time I was like, well, thank God, like I'm not doing this by myself. I started feeling really bad for like single mothers. Like, holy
Yes.
shit.
Right.
um,
Exactly. Yes. It's
and at that point I was like, yeah, well, at least I'm not doing it by myself. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, unless like
Yep.
we're in therapy for the rest of our lives, like, wow. And then we have to continue this on if our
Yep.
children choose to become parents themselves. We then become grandmothers, and so it's like,
There you
wow,
go.
okay, I'm in this forever. Shit.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. Yes. That part. That's the part. You have to, when you become a parent, a mom, you're opening the door to be a grandmother at some point. So it continues.
It
And this
continues.
could happen after you've discovered that this is not the job for you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Or you might need, like, I have a friend of mine, I mentioned to the earlier that I wanted to go do a YouTube with her to talk about, or a podcast to talk about motherhood, right? And so just to make a long story short, she is a grandmother, but here's the thing. I think that sometimes people think that after you finish parenting that you have this, you get to do whatever you want now. Like, you're like, "Oh, I'm done. I want to live, I want to travel, I want to date, I want to hang out, I want to do the things I couldn't do when I was a mom,"
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden your children decide to become moms as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
maybe they're not prepared either, right? They might have started out young. And so now you're like, oh my God, I got to step in. Now I'm not really a grandmother. I'm more of like a co parent, because
Hmm.
the role of a grandmother is much different than the role of a parent.
Hmm.
But when you fall into single motherhood and there's no decent baby daddy, however you want to, I don't know, husband,
Yeah.
if they're not actively involved, someone else has to step in, and guess who that person is going to be?
The grandparent.
The moms. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now
Absolutely. That's
now
true.
not only did you struggle through raising your children, now you've got to struggle another another span of time during
Yeah.
your life with helping to raise the grandchildren.
Yeah, and I
That's
tell my
yeah.
my girls all the time, we never really stop raising our children,
Right.
whether they choose to have children or not, and whether
That's
they're
true.
married and off on their own or not. Does it become easier? Absolutely.
Yes.
But if my 30-year-old, if my 30-year-old daughter calls me at 2 o'clock in the morning bawling her eyes out, I'm hopping out of bed, getting on the next airplane to go see what's going on with my baby. So it's like
Exactly.
and I don't care if I'm in another country with a man I just met. So
Exactly.
we
Exactly.
never
Yes.
really end becoming parents. We never
That's it.
end raising our children. We're forever going to be older than them. We're forever going to be more experienced than them.
Yes.
We eventually stop being their parent and being their mentors. But that's still
Yep.
we're their first mentors. That's still a form of raising your children. So it's a
Exactly.
job that never ends. It's a job that never ends.
Exactly.
You
It
might
never.
have less hours, but it never ends.
Yes, that's a good point. And I just want to say you're getting some love from your future hood lawyer. She's sending you roses and just a lot of support.
Hello,
Um,
hello,
and I just wanted to say hello to Timely Now. That's one of my followers. Good morning. I appreciate you for being here.
hello. Good
And then
morning.
KMG, yes, KMG 8182 says this is exactly what she said. She said this is exactly what I don't want to happen to my girls. So she just commented. Let me just and thank you for the share as well. I appreciate you. So again, if you like what you're hearing, tap the screen because this is such an important topic. It involves mothers and children and the future. Like it's so important.
It really
Um,
is. It's
it is. This is we're talking about like, oops, oh, what happened? Did I do something? Okay, we lost. Oh, Phaedra shared the live. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, let me do the same, and I'm gonna invite. So we lost Phaedra for a few minutes. I'm going to invite her back in. Thank you, Timely Now. So hello.
Ye-
Thank you for the
Hello.
tap.
Sorry
Thank you for
about
the
that.
likes.
I guess
No.
when I went to go share the
Yes.
live, it kicked me out. Okay.
No worries. Oh, thank you, Timely Now, for sharing the live. Thank you. So, so I wanted to ask. So, okay, so you're providing some really good explanations on your experience. What made you courageous enough to talk about the topic of motherhood, the real deal? Because people aren't afraid to. They're just afraid to admit the
Well,
downside of
outside
motherhood.
of just being, I'm real controversial. In high school, I was part of the debate team. My
Okay.
mother, growing up, used to always tell me, "You should be a lawyer. You need to be a lawyer. You need to." Even now, she's like, "Just go to
Yes.
law school now." There's plenty of 30-year-olds in law school. So, but outside of that, because I have a daughter, I have a niece that I help raise as well. Um, and I teach them
Mhm.
that. And I don't want
Mhm.
them to be the oddballs out. I
Right.
don't want them to have to hide that like many women that I grew up with that are afraid to be
Right.
like, well, I just don't want to have kids. With the
Right.
way of social media and it's a topic that we can spread really really fast,
Yes.
and then the fact that we have what's going on with women's reproductive rights at the
Right.
current moment. So it's just something right now that with the way of the world ultimately, it's something that really needs to be talked about.
Mhm.
Like I said in the very beginning,
Mhm.
it's indoctrinated in us that because it's our
Mhm.
biology, we should have children simply
Right.
because it's our biology. So
Absolutely.
it's a topic that just needs to be talked about. And I'm controversial AF. controversial as as ever. I love a good debate.
Yes. Same, same. Yes.
Yeah.
I can be very controversial. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So
and
your
it
future, yep, go ahead.
yeah, and so many of us hide in secrecy about our feelings. I remember one time I had posted on
Mm-hmm.
my Facebook, where as a woman, where do you cry? And it was a post that
Mm.
went viral. It was a few years ago. It was a post that went viral, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone hit it. Everyone hit it, and a majority of the comments were from mothers, and
Mm.
there's just no safe space for us to, after postpartum depression, it's like you should love this or there's something wrong with you. um
Good point.
so it's important to be talked about. Too many babies are dying, um
Mm.
are being hurt, are being abused, because this shit's hard. It's
It
not
is.
it's not easy,
Yes,
I love dark humor, so I use
I do
so
too.
many dark humor examples, but it's like in my post with the Menendez family, it's just
Hmm.
these things are real, like these things really happen, and it's often not spoken about. It's never
Exactly. And
spoken
I
about.
love that. Yes, because I'm very familiar with that story. That story happened many years ago, so
Yeah,
that caught my
yeah.
attention too.
And
Um,
everyone
yes,
totally missed it. Missed the point I was trying to make, the satire in it. I understand, that those boys were brutally abused, but that's the point, that these people should not have been parents. But because they were married, it was probably something that was pushed upon them. And, the
exactly.
mother was probably mentally ill. And it was, it ended up not being worth it for everyone. For
Right.
everyone
Yes.
in that
Ab-
situation.
absolute. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes. I totally. Yes. Sometimes it can be tragic, right? Because
yeah,
you're not making the right decisions for yourself and for
exactly.
the children, and so that's what we need. That's why we need to talk about this. Um, oh, we've got some really good comments coming in too. Let's see. Your future hood lawyer says moms are afraid to say how they really feel because we've been conditioned that we're supposed to be happy to be mothering 24/7. So then another commenter, KMG8182, says she had her first at 19. She's 20 now. 10 years later, she had a second and third. What a ride. Okay.
Wow. God bless
Yes.
you.
And that happens too. Sometimes you have this huge gap between, your first child and your second child. And that's
And
another
when in
experience as
20, and I
well.
will tell you, I mean, I don't have a 20-year-old child, but from my many mentors, who do have
Yes.
children, um 20 years ago, raising children 20 years ago is not like raising children now.
Yep.
So God bless you. God bless
That's
you.
that is that part, because I mentioned I there's a therapist that I also follow, both on TikTok and Instagram. I think she's 33, and she describes herself as a millennial therapist, but she also just got married. And so she came on, I think it was Instagram, and she said, "For those of you who keep asking when are we going to have a baby, like leave me alone." She's like, "I see many of my friends that have kids and they're not happy." She's like, "I'm enjoying my life. Me and my
Yeah,
husband are going to enjoy our marriage, and that's just not
yeah.
something that's on the table." And she said, "If we do have a kid, she's like, it's going to be one." So like she just came out with it. It was like,
Like,
you
just,
know,
yeah.
that's
And,
it, just one, because I
and
don't
that's
want to.
and that's the indoctrination. It's like, okay, now
Yes,
you're married, when like you should have the baby within a year, and if you don't, it doesn't
exactly.
solidify your marriage. It doesn't, you guys are not
Hmm.
happy, and you guys
Yes.
are, there's problems, and it's just like it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that's, yeah, so like, the thing is like, and then another comment from your future hood lawyer. She says, if you're a grown woman and you don't have kids, it's like there's something wrong with you. So that is to your comment. Again, there's another therapist on TikTok called her profile is My Therapist Life. I think she's like 45, no children, but she's constantly defending herself,
Absolutely.
in her videos about why she made the choice to be child free. She's like, I
Yeah,
love my life. I'm happy.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it is, yes. So it does. And oh, I want to add this. So me only having one child, the comment that I used to get all the time? You only have one? You only have why you only have one? That went on forever. So even having one child, people feel like something's wrong with you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why?
When are you gonna give?
So
When are you gonna give it a sibling? When are you gonna give her a sibling? When are
exactly,
you gonna give
right.
her
Like
a
it's wrong.
brother? Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So that's another thing. Um, Timely now. When you say, "Can I bring you up in the box?" I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't know if that means add the person to the live. I don't know. Let me know what you mean by that. Timely now. Um, and when you have more than three. Oh, so a comment just came in, and she's saying that when you have more than three, you have too many. So what would you say to that? Did you have four?
Yeah, I have three too many.
You have three too many? Okay.
I have three too many. No, absolutely. People think I remember a few years ago on Facebook, I there was a post that was going viral and it was a man and his mother. And
Yes.
it was for Father Day. It was a man and his mother, and I think he had like 11 to 17 kids in the picture with him that were his children.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the caption and their shirt said something like the legend and legacy. And no, children are not a legacy. You create the legacy for the children. So if
Exactly.
you have multiple children, you're creating this legacy that now all your children have to then divide. So they're not
Yes.
getting as much as they should be getting. I say all the time,
Exactly.
multiple children is a poor people's trait, and not financially, but mentally. It's a poor person trait. You don't have anything set up for those children. So and not for them. Yes, you may be doing a great job while they are children, but when they leave your home and you have to share them with the world, what are they contributing to the world? How much are they having to then divide if you
Yes.
did put anything away for them? If you so
Yes.
it's a poor person trait.
I like that. I like that. That is so
And
true.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, I like that. That is I hope all are listening. Thank you for the likes. Cupcake Geisha join. Thank you for tapping the screen. Um so Timely now, we have a request. I want to just get through a few more questions. Timely now is someone who's been following me for some time and wants to join the live discussion. So I just want to get through some more questions, and then if you're still here, maybe we could bring you in. If it's if that's I don't know if that's we came on together to have a conversation, but certainly would love to have some additional input. Um, so thank you. So how can you? So I know you have. I think you have. I don't know if this is your hashtag. Motherhood is ghetto. Is that a hashtag, or is that like your slogan?
It's a hashtag. It's a
A
hashtag.
hashtag. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you explain to others when you say you love your children, but motherhood is not for you, or doesn't serve you well, right? Like, how do you explain that when people come into your comments, with their thoughts?
Man, it's hard. I feel like there's more than one answer to like this question. Um,
Right.
like the opposite of love is not hate. So, like
Right.
I'm entitled to, not not love it all the time. Um,
Yes. Yeah, you are entitled to. Yes.
it's like the easiest way I can explain it is it's like me going to work and I I love my position. I love being the boss, I love being manager
Right.
and I love being in charge, but I don't love my job. I don't love the duties. I don't love
Mhm.
being here. Would I rather be on the beach someplace else? Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Mhm.
would rather be doing something else. Someplace
Right.
else. So I that's like my easiest way um to explain it,
Mhm.
I would say. Um,
Right.
I feel like, when I say I love my kids, but I don't love motherhood, this thing's a journey. Motherhood is a journey. And someone had duetted one of my or stitched, I think it's called, the video. And she said something about the roles. Motherhood,
Yes.
differentiating motherhood and, caregiving.
Yes.
And she asked me in the video, is it motherhood that I do not like, or is it caregiving that I do not like? Both. Both.
Mhm.
Caregivers are allowed to leave. Caregiving is something that
Mhm.
it's not, you're not doing it all the time. So it's still both. I don't
Right.
like both of them.
Right.
Both of them. I
Right.
love the people, the children, but
Yes.
everything else I don't. I can't wait till, I can be fully their friends and I can be their mentors. Fully their mentors, not their
Mm.
mentor and
Mhm.
their parent. I
Mm.
can't wait for that moment. Where I'm sitting at the bar with
Mm.
my kids, and
Right.
or we're sitting in my living room, and the living room on Christmas Eve, my daughter's
Right.
birthday, and we're all sitting
Right.
there having an amazing laugh with a glass of wine,
Yes.
So I live for those moments. People are always like, cherish these
Yes.
moments. No, I live for those moments. Yeah, so
Right. So I like what you're saying because you're acknowledging that the children are human beings. They are people, little people, right?
yeah,
And you're saying, I appreciate them as people, as humans, but I don't appreciate the role, right? So can you explain, like I said in that, in that post that went viral that you made, and you said, the real ones know what I'm talking about. I'm paraphrasing, but what is how would you describe motherhood? Like what does it mean to be a mother, right? Like, because I think everyone has different views of what that is, and that's why maybe that's why it's so desirable, because people have different views.
yeah. Um, I feel ultimately, you know, no matter what your experience is, how you go about raising your children, what
Mm-hmm.
if you decide to do authoritarian or what's the new one? Gentle parenting. No matter how you go about it, motherhood is giving completely, like giving yourself, giving all of you to another human being, and
Mm-hmm.
little by little getting it back,
Yes.
little by little,
Yes.
as they get older, as they grow, little by little, it's,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting that back. But in the beginning, it's literally giving all
Mm-hmm.
of you to someone else, and
Absolutely.
that's what motherhood is.
Absolutely.
And just
Yes.
waiting to
Yes.
just get that all back.
Yes. Yes. That's an awesome explanation. You're getting some good comments and good feedback. From our commenters. I can't even talk commenters. KMG 8182 says Phaedra has a good perspective, and thank you for the
Thank
follow.
you. Thank you.
Uh, Also, another comment from your future hood lawyer says that before the title of mother, we are humans with human emotions. That's something that I had to recognize later in life. I was like, oh, I'm actually a whole person. Like,
Yeah.
because when you're in a mother role, and especially at a younger age, you don't get a chance to really figure out who you are as a
Yeah, you don't
person.
even know that person. Yeah.
So you lose your way because now you like I used to introduce myself as like I'm like my daughter's mom. I'm so and so's mom, right? So
Mhm.
that when we have uh that title, it then we get lost sometimes
Mhm.
in who we are, right? It just happens.
Yep.
Um so I think it is important for women to know that they are women, that they're a person, that they're human, and that they have their own needs and desires and interests, right? That have nothing to do with being a mom. And that's why here's what I say. I think that it's important if you're okay. Let me just say this because I have different conversations with different people. I actually had a child
Can I
tell me
just? I'm
recently
sorry.
that
My son just woke up from his nap. Can I just give me
okay.
1 minute?
Oh yes, no worries. Okay, and so let me just see. Timely now, are you still here? If you're still here, just give me like a thumbs up or something, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to add you to the live discussion in about maybe like 5 minutes or so. If you're still here and you want to join in, I definitely appreciate your perspective. Let's see. So, your future hood lawyer says subconsciously, women want kids to feel needed, loved, no matter what, pleasing our partner families. Some women, yes. I would totally agree with that. Thank you for the likes, Cupcake Geisha. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm going to just give me 1 second. I'm just going to step away. All right, I am back. Uh,
All right.
KMG8182 says she recently had a scare with her oldest. She says, I'm not ready to be a grandmother while still raising two children. Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So that we already kind of touched on that a little bit. So that's okay. Yep. I'm going to see if Timely Now is still here. And I don't know if that request is gone. Oh, I don't see it now. Okay. I don't see the request timely now. If you're still here, please send me another request. Let me just see something. Give me just one moment. I don't mean to hold up
No.
the convo. Okay. I don't. Let's see. Okay. So I sent the invite to timely now. So if you know if all right. So we'll continue. Okay. So that's the thing too. Like again, I'm sure that is very nerve wracking. To have an older child who can have a child, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're having the conversation with your child about your you not feeling ready to be a grandmother while you're still in the mother role. So thank you for sharing. So to continue this conversation, so here's the thing, and I want to really, because you touched on postpartum depression, and that's a whole separate subject, right? We
Yes. Oh
know
God.
that that's a problem. We know it's happening. We know that sometimes situations are fatal.
Yes, absolutely.
No one's really. I mean, it almost seems like postpartum depression has become like an acceptable term. Oh, well,
Yeah.
she's got postpartum depression, she'll get through it, but not always.
Not always.
Not always.
And I was saying that earlier.
Yeah,
Not always. People are after postpartum depression. People expect that you're supposed to get over it, and if you don't, you're a bad mom.
exactly.
And even you yourself, you start to feel what's wrong with me.
Exactly.
I forced myself not to go through postpartum depression. Like, and then ended up
Okay.
still going through depression, but just trying not to label it as postpartum depression, because if I
Yes.
went through that, I'm not as good as the mom that I thought that I was. And that's sick.
Mm.
That's sick
When
that
you
we
say
have
you force your, right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was
I was just saying, it's sick that we have to, we have to do that, because if not, we're labeled as, not being a good mother or not loving our children. Even
right.
my post, the amount of comments that said, I feel bad for your kids, or I'm glad TikTok wasn't around when I was a child growing up. It's sad that, us as
Really?
mothers, we have to, hide that, or else we'll get that label that we're not good mothers.
So did you get a lot of negative feedback from the post?
Oh my God.
Like what? Like it was more
I think it was
negative?
about I would say about maybe 70-30, but about 30% was, yeah, you're a bad mom, and I
Ooh.
feel bad for your kids, and you should go to therapy.
So that tells us where we are as a society, that people would rather have you pretend that you're happy and that this is
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah. No,
instead of speaking your
absolutely.
true feelings. Yes.
Yeah.
What's so funny about your feelings is that they're not harmful.
No,
It's not harmful to say how you feel about something.
absolutely. Absolutely not. We have, I saw that Casey Anthony was coming out with a documentary. And
Yes.
not that I'm gonna watch it. I don't know. I don't know if it's even out yet, but I had seen that like circulating on Facebook.
Yes.
But I can just imagine what she's gonna say in that. She's already been tried, so as far as I'm concerned, we can't do it, try her again. So if she wanted to, come out
Right.
and tell the complete entire story, or give us another
Yes.
story, she would
Yes.
be entitled to that, and she could. But like I said, I like dark humor, but at after going through therapy, I
Yes.
can see, why um, a lot of these things happen, and they end
Absolutely.
up, and a lot of children are abused, and a lot of situations end up fatal. I can see that
Mhm.
because we're not taken serious. We're supposed to
Exactly.
love this job. um,
That part, that's it right there.
we're supposed
We're
to get
supposed to.
into it, and we're supposed to love it, and you know don't you dare say anything about it. Don't you dare
Mhm.
cry in public about it. Don't you dare look overwhelmed, or
Mm.
look like you're tired.
Wow.
Don't you dare. um,
Wow.
or you're not a good mother. And even that thought itself as a mother, that thought
Mm.
itself puts us into, really bad states. Just the thought
Yes.
of, am I doing it right? Like, are they going to be okay? Are they going to be
Mm-hmm.
good kids? That's why
Right.
one of my models is, can I swear on here?
I think.
Okay. Well,
I
one of
don't
my
know because
mottos is fuck them kids, because if we're not good, they could never be good. If we're not at
right.
our 100%,
Yeah.
there's no way we could ever give them anything.
Yes.
Whatever we are giving
Yes.
them would be bad and
Right.
would be detrimental to their upbringing. So
Exactly.
I'm very big on, yeah, if you have to lock yourself in the room and just like let them tear
Yes.
the house apart, then by all
Right.
means do it.
Exactly. Yes, you gotta separate yourself too sometimes from your children to give yourself
Yeah,
space.
absolutely.
Um, so again, yes, we're supposed to love it. So what happens when we don't?
When we don't, we get those bad labels.
Right.
Mhm.
And the good mother, that comment, the good mother, that is something I think that haunts a lot of us. Oh, she said Michelle Obama. I think that's haunting because I think that even if you did a fairly decent job, you're
Mhm.
still always going to question certain parts of your motherhood experience and what you
Absolutely.
could have done or what you didn't do, or like there's always going to be this uncertainty about whether or not you really did do a good job, or whether or not you really are a good mother. So like
Mhm.
I've heard along the years, you're a good mom. I've heard that a lot. But it's like, well, what determines that, right? What does
Yeah.
that mean to be a good mother?
Yeah, I had
You know?
asked that in one of my videos, but
Yes.
because my mentor, who she only had one child, the one I had
Yes.
mentioned earlier, but
Yes.
she only had one child herself. Her child is a doctor now.
Mhm.
They both have live a great life.
Right.
And
Yes.
she had asked that at one point a few years ago. What makes you a good mother? Outside of
Right.
finances, outside of the things that you're supposed to do,
Right.
outside of those things, how do you know that you're a good mother? Um, and at that time, it
Right.
was really hard for me to answer. It was really, really hard for me
Right.
to answer at that point in time. Um, and
Yes.
that's the same thing for a lot of women, um,
Yes.
but really, what is a good mother? I say all the time, like, no matter how good or bad we do, when they become adults, they're gonna end up in therapy talking shit about their childhood. They're gonna talk about
That's
that
where I come in,
Christmas.
right?
Yeah, they're gonna talk about that Christmas where they didn't get that special gift that they had wanted so badly, and,
Yeah.
and when they went back to school, everyone had it, and they were made fun of. And whoa, whoa, my mom, like,
Yes.
no matter what. So
That's
hey,
it. There's that part. There's always going to be something to say. Absolutely. And that's something that, like I mentioned, as a therapist, I've been having all these conversations with women. And yeah, they're actually that's what they're coming to complain about their mom.
yeah,
Because that's not something that was happening, especially in Black culture. Like it just wasn't. It was a taboo to say my mom was not a good mom, in my opinion. Like we didn't come forward and say stuff like that.
no,
Actually, what we do is say that's your mother, or like just
yeah,
like in other words, the title of mother, being a mother, is supposed to guarantee that you get a certain amount of respect
it's
out the
respect
gate
and love.
without
Yeah,
even right. That's just
yeah,
what it is. So I've had a lot of Black women come forward in
yeah,
privacy to talk about their experiences and talk about they have now an estranged relationship with their mom
yeah,
because they realized that it wasn't good for them, right?
exactly.
there
I
might have been
have,
some manipulation. Yeah, abuse. Any like this things that they're
yeah,
recognizing now. Yeah.
exactly. I have a lot of women who I've asked the question often to a lot of women, why did you become a mother? I've yet to be given a valid reason, but
Mm,
I ask that question often, and a lot of the answers are, um, I have someone who loves me unconditionally, especially from a lot of the young mothers. I have someone who's
yes.
going to love me unconditionally or love me for life or, whatever,
Hmm.
something towards those lines. But what if they don't?
Right.
But what if they don't? Just because you're their mother doesn't mean that they're supposed to. What if they don't?
See?
Because you barely love yourself. So what if they don't? What then? What happens then? And
That
that
brings me back to
happens.
the yes, that brings me back to and I just want to make reference to the comment that KMG 8182 just said. She said Michelle Obama said it best. Um and then she said that she has an aunt with 5 children growing up. She says I thought she was the best. Okay. Okay. And thank you again for the likes. Thank you again, Cupcake Geisha, for sharing the live and for just your support. We appreciate you. Um, so and I guess we lost timely now. I don't know what happened, but I did send the invite over. So basically, like it brings me back to the point where you had said we're supposed to love motherhood. So then that makes me think that the expectation for children is that they're supposed to love their mothers.
Mhm.
That's the expectation. But
Yeah.
sometimes, listen, I had this one young lady, I mean, she was ready to just sever ties with her mother. Like it was at that point. Like I'm never gonna like have the relationship that my mother wants at this point. Like it so that happens.
Mhm.
Sometimes your child will grow up and they're gonna shut the door
Yeah.
and they're gonna decide that in order for them to be healthy, mentally healthy, they cannot have you in their lives.
Yeah.
So it's not
Absolutely.
guaranteed that you're going to receive unconditional love from your children.
Exactly. Exactly. And it doesn't, that doesn't mean you're going to give your children unconditional love as well. They
Right.
may grow up to be adults that you simply can't be around.
Exactly.
That's not conducive for your health. But then you have the
Mhm.
notion in the back of your mind, well, that's my child. Um, I have to. That's my kid, and that's not
Yes.
good. That right
Yes.
there is toxic. To
Yes.
keep
Yes.
someone in your life just because of the title that they have in your life. Child,
Exactly.
child, mother, grandfather, husband, wife. It doesn't matter.
Yes. I had someone tell me I asked her, I said, why do you continue to talk to your mother and you don't, you chose not to have any relationship with your dad? And her response was, my mom stayed. That's it. So even though the relationship, with her mom is not good and never has been good, and she can clearly, clearly define all of the faults of her mom, but simply because she stayed is the reason why she continues to interact with her.
Okay.
That's not a good enough reason, but it is a reason. You understand?
Yeah.
Like it's like, wow, when you say, well, that's why you're only talking to her because she stayed. So
Yeah.
she didn't leave like your dad. It's like, oh my, like just hearing that
Yeah.
is just mind blowing. And so, I think I just think what I would love to see people just be okay with having honest conversations because
Yeah.
honesty doesn't
Exactly.
hurt. It might sting in the beginning if you're not ready to have the conversation. I think also you have to be relatively mentally healthy to have these kind of conversations without getting
Hmm.
upset, without getting offended. So, but I just think that talking about this is so helpful. And I think that it can help. moms and it can also help children,
Yes,
to
absolutely.
be aware that this is a very hard job. It's challenging. It is actually, I believe it's the hardest job in the world. It
It
just is.
absolutely is. It
There's,
absolutely
yeah,
is. It absolutely is. And I have the conversation because I want
yeah,
people to unlearn absolutely everything that they've learned about motherhood and what motherhood is.
right,
And we're going
right.
to learn something completely different. We're going to learn the truth now. We're going to learn,
That's
it's not all about the children. It absolutely, positively is not all about the children. It's actually more about the mother, than it is the
mm,
children.
mm-hmm.
So that's why I continue to have these conversations. We have to put the mom first.
Right.
I call
Absolutely.
children parasites because they are. I mean, and we're the host, and so we have to care for the host. We have to, the host also needs to be nurtured, or the host will die.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so, yeah, these conversations need to continue to be had and need to be had in um, public places and not just private places. Not just
Exactly.
our therapist office, because that's the only place I've ever had these conversations, or on the phone with my cousin, who we have the same
Right.
sentiment. Um, but
Yes.
outside of that, we don't have these conversations. Um,
Right.
so it's something that needs to be given to the public, and
Mm-hmm.
so that young girls know that this isn't what they were made to do. Because
Right. And the
yeah,
other thing, I think also just helping young people understand what they're in for. I think really knowing the pros and the cons is important so that that fantasy or whatever that is, I don't know what it is that, I think most people again, I got to ask that question to kind of, I think I need to ask that question to find out what women, what are they envisioning when they think about becoming a mom, what is it that's appealing to you, right?
yeah,
What are you hoping for when you decide, like, so those are questions that you want to know, because like I said before, I think society, this is something that we celebrate life, we celebrate birth, we celebrate something new, we celebrate it. But you mentioned the Menendez family, and it's like, well, they didn't get to celebrate. Like that wasn't a celebration, right? It was
yeah,
tragic. So it's like, well, what happens when it doesn't turn out the way that you envisioned it to turn out? That's the other
exactly.
thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah,
I seen a lot in the comments, people were like, well, if you have someone to share the moments with, and to, this, that, and the
yeah.
third, if there's a partner there, and all of that,
Mm,
and yeah, absolutely, the experiences are different when there is a
yes,
partner there, or when there and when there isn't a
absolutely.
partner there. But it whether the partner is there or not, a mother's experience is her individual experience, and a father's experience is his
That's
individual
true.
experience.
That's
I
true.
remember seeing in the comments that it's different for fathers, and it absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
There's something internal in mothers that, from
Mm,
mom guilt to that mom feeling, simply being
mm.
in the shower and thinking that we hear a cry, and nobody else heard it, but we did. So it's like
Right,
there's things that are, because this is our biology. Once we tap
right,
into that, once we're into that field, that's why you never know what motherhood is until you're actually into it.
right, right.
We can share our experiences, but like I said, everyone's experiences is different. I had amazing pregnancies and not so great births, where some women had horrible pregnancies and great births. So every
Exactly.
experience is different. It's not till we're actually in it that we can
Right.
really understand. And it doesn't
Exactly.
matter if the amount of married women that I have worked with that have told
Yes.
me I was a single mother is crazy.
They told you that? They told you
Yes.
that you were a single mother?
No, 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 that they were
Oh, okay.
single mothers being married and
Okay.
they still
Oh,
felt
yes.
like they were single
Yes.
mothers. The
That
numbers
happens. Yes.
are, it happens more often than not.
Mhm.
Especially if you're a stay-at-home mom. And
Exactly.
and you definitely can become a single mother. And have,
Yep.
the single mother feeling. Um, because your husband
Absolutely.
is, working and doing all the work
Exactly.
outside of the
Yep.
home.
That's true too. Yes. And yeah, and I know there's so many different ways we can go about this conversation. I mean, I know that we're focusing more on single moms for this discussion, but I know that there's probably another avenue to tap into with married moms, like you mentioned, the ones that still feel single. Um, okay, KMG 8182 says pregnancy is the easy part. Everything after that is the real work, right? Because the baby's contained in your body. That's why
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
actually easier to just. I mean, until you get to the very end and get closer to delivery, right? It's obviously uncomfortable, but when you think about the baby's contained, so
yeah.
you don't you don't have to manage anyone else until the baby comes
Exactly, exactly.
so that is the easy part. um so what would you say, like, what is your overall goal? What is your message, like, what do you want to do to help people understand the truth about motherhood?
So my ultimate goal, it's gonna sound so harsh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
My ultimate goal, is to get women to stop reproducing for selfish reasons. Yeah, I
Okay.
I truly do not
Selfish.
support um
Selfish.
every woman having children. I believe it really is something that God ordains. Just because
Mm.
we are biologically made to do it does not mean that we should. I really want women to go within, um, and
Mm.
deep, deep within,
Mm.
to before they make that decision.
Yes.
I tell my girls all the time,
Mm-hmm.
try, and I even said it in the comments, and I've had a lot of people say, "Wow, why would you say that?" To travel the world like a couple of times, visit, everywhere a couple of times, before you decide to have children. Because traveling, you find different parts of yourself being in different parts of the
Mm.
world. So travel
Right.
the world
That's
a couple
true.
of times before you make that ultimate decision. I really feel like it's one of those things that's ordained by God. It's not just
Yes.
everyone should have children. I strongly believe I was
Mm.
ordained by God to bring forth these four kids. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm simply their vessel. I do not own them. They do not belong to me. I'm simply their vessel,
Mm.
here to do a job and to teach them and to release them. And I don't believe
Right.
everyone is supposed to do that. Um, yeah, I
Mm.
just don't, and that's what I want the goal to be. For women
Yes.
really, um, to really know that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is
Wow.
one of my purposes, and I have to do this, and I have to complete it, whether it's my first purpose or my last purpose before, but it's something
Right.
that has to be done. But not because I'm a
Okay.
woman, but because this is my purpose.
Hmm. How do you know that, like, so I love what you said, what you're saying, and it's deep, and I love how you reference God as well. How do you know that it's your purpose? I'm trying to dig deeper because I want to understand what you mean by that. Like like I think I get it. So you're saying that you believe that this was ordained by God for you specifically to bring forth children. Okay. Okay. I okay. Um I'm going to think about that a little bit more like afterwards cuz I find that very intriguing. Um so how do you know that is the question. Like you're
I know
saying it,
myself.
but okay.
I didn't
Okay.
always know that, like I said in the beginning, I wanted kids because I wanted a family. But I
Right.
don't have that now. I'm not, with my husband. We're,
Exactly.
we're divorced. I have a family, me and my children. We are a family. But that's not what I
Right.
had envisioned when I went into the game, knowing that I wanted to have children. Um,
Right.
but knowing myself now at 33 years old,
Yes.
I know that, granted, this is not a job that I like. It's a mission that I needed to complete. Um, because I know myself.
That's a good way to look at it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
And
okay. So
you
I mean,
and
hopefully
you
that
can't
does. Yes.
you can't know yourself at 20 years old. You can't know
That
yourself at 23. There's many 30-year-old women who don't know themselves.
look. There's
So
many 40-year-old women and 50-year-old women that don't know
that don't
themselves.
know themselves. You see,
Yes.
so if it
That's
was something that every woman was supposed to do, we wouldn't have that clock that's ticking that's going to stop eventually. If it
exactly
was something that we all were supposed to do. Like that
right.
biological clock wouldn't end. So just because it's our biology doesn't mean that we should be doing this. Um,
That you explain it so perfectly. Um, you've got so KMG 8182 says Phaedra, you are doing just that, and she appreciates you. And also, she also said that she would not be able to teach others if she didn't have this experience.
oh yes.
So
Oh, I
that's
was like, yeah,
yeah, no, that's for you. So
oh,
that's one
okay.
reason how you know it's your purpose because you have a purpose. If you didn't have these children, you wouldn't be talking about this.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, very true. Very true.
Yes. So, no, I mean, you explain things so well. I think and what I like about your delivery is that it's not, to me, I don't find it harmful. I know you're getting feedback from other people saying, how could you say this? And how can you come on here and publicly speak about your true feelings? But I find this conversation very healing because of the way you deliver and explain your thoughts. So I see it. I just see it. This is my perspective. I see it as very healing. Um,
Well,
and
thank you.
and I
That's
hope
the
that
way
others,
I want to
yes,
put it across. That this is how I speak to my girls.
yes,
And I never want them to, run off home and they tell their mother,
yes,
this is what happened today in group, and it was, and it come back as harmful feedback. I always
exactly.
want it to be delivered, this is my experience, this is my truth. But I'm also not here to cause any harm. Um,
Right, exactly. And I'm so glad that you decided that, getting therapy was, a good step for you and your family because I try to, encourage people about the importance of therapy. The thing about therapy is that I was reading some kind of statistic the other day and it said like more than like 80 million people will never ever go to therapy for whatever reason. And
yeah.
so I just want to say that I'm so glad that you speak about that because I think it's important for people to know that it's okay to get help, even if it's just for parenting. Because the therapist, if you can find a good therapist and have a good connection, they're going to help you see things that maybe you're not able to realize, right? And they're
Hmm.
also going to help to stimulate a healthy dialogue, a healthy relationship with your kids, and hopefully, I mean, that's someone that you can partner with. So when you don't have a partner,
Yeah.
like a lot of women do not, it's a wonderful experience when you can find the right therapist for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
um
Absolutely.
oh, let me just see, this comments are rolling in. Let me see if there are any women who had kids 21 and under and would like to help with a project. Let me
Oh
just
yes, I was gonna mention something like that.
Okay.
So one of the nonprofits that I work with, the Sunny Boy Project, you guys can find them on Instagram. They are
Okay.
having a project that they're doing called Motherhood of the Traveling Notebook. So it's a notebook that the
I'll make a
founder
note
will
of that.
start, and she will write down just a journal entry of her experience that day, as a mother, whether it was good, whether it was bad, and then
Okay.
she will mail it off to the next mother, and she chicken soup of the young mother soul type book, is what I've gotten from the founder of the project, of the organization.
Okay.
So again, it's the Sunny Boy Project on Instagram. You guys can get more information there.
Thank you. I'm definitely taking notes, and I think
Oh yeah, I'm
you're
so excited for it. I'm so excited. I already told her I want to be like the
okay.
second person.
Right. So I just want to repeat that it's called the Sunny Boy Project on Instagram, and I see that your future hood lawyer did. She also posted it in the comments. She said Motherhood of the Traveling Notebook.
Yes.
Okay, so you must. Okay, so she must also be following this person. Okay, yeah, she's saying that this person we can also find them on Facebook. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's awesome. And to answer your question, KMG8182, I am a therapist. I'm a licensed therapist. So that's one of so I just want to I don't think you were here in the very beginning, so I want to just kind of recap a little bit. I saw Phaedra's one of her posts, the one that's currently viral right now, and she was just it was a very profound statement that she made about her experience with motherhood, and then just shedding some light to others. And so that video is how I found Phaedra. I stopped, I looked, I read it like 5 times, and I'm like, I'm gonna DM this person like right now. And that's exactly how it was, like lightning. I didn't hesitate. So because I just only because I just haven't seen, and I'm not saying that there's not anyone else on the app that's willing to be honest. I have not seen that yet. I have not seen anyone say what you said. And I guess, and here's the thing, the problem, not the problem, the fact that the video went viral tells me that other people probably feel the same way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah,
was so
exactly.
profound.
Yeah,
So
and as
that's
much
how
as
yeah.
there were negative comments, and I'm sure some of the negative comments also shared it as well, as long as the message gets out there. That's the way
That's
I
it.
see it. As long as the message gets out there, and they hit the follow button and they look forward to the rest
Exactly.
of the videos. And
Yes.
I do have a few projects coming up to get more into details, about to get more into this talk and this conversation. So
Yes.
um, it's very important that we have it. It's and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, keep us post. I definitely, I'm following you now because when I saw your videos, I just that was it. So again, I do follow a lot of young ladies that do talk about, they're just choosing not to have children. So I do tend to follow those ladies because because I want to hear more about how they came to that decision. And the other thing when we talk about being young, like in your 20s, I think again, referencing my therapist's life, she said something the other day as well, that it is probably more likely that if you're in your 20s, under 25, you probably haven't figured yourself out yet, right?
Yeah,
Some might
exactly.
claim that they did, right? They might say, you know what, I'm ready, I'm mature, I know this is something that I want, but I like we just talked about, it takes years to really understand yourself.
Yes.
I do think that the age of 30, like, once you kind of hit like the 29-30 range, I do think that most women have a good sense of themselves. Like
Mhm.
I think that's a good age to think about having children if you think that's what you want to do. But there's still a whole lot of growing to do,
There
right?
is
So just keeping that in
absolutely.
mind, that yes, you can change, you can evolve, and sometimes when you evolve and you change, motherhood just becomes less appealing or less of a
Yeah,
priority.
yeah,
So that's something that you have to be aware of too. Like, well, what if I start to change? Or what if it's same thing with relationship with men. Like you get into a relationship and next thing you know, you're like, I don't want to be married to him. Like
yeah.
you change.
And that's exactly what I was like, let me keep the thought in
Yeah.
my head. I remember when I was getting married, and a friend said to me, "Are you ready to get married?" They asked me if I was ready to get married.
Yeah.
I was young, so and I asked them why did they ask me that,
Right.
and they told me because you have to know that you're going to have to remarry this person, but another version of this person in the next
Mm,
7 to 10 years, because we change and we should change. We should change. If you're staying the same, there's a problem, but we change about every seven
exactly.
to ten years. So that you have to
Hmm.
know that you're getting, and it's the same thing for being a mother. Right
Yes.
now at 25 or even at 30, right now at 30, you might know I'm ready to be a mom. I'm ready for this. But 10 years from now or 15 years from now, you're going to be another person. And then that child as well is going to be another person as well. So it's one of those things that you have to know that no matter what, no matter how much I change, no matter how much this person changes and how who
Yes.
they become, I'm in this for the long run. I'm going to do this
Exactly.
forever. And just because you're in
Yes.
it for the long run and just because you're going to do it forever does not mean that you have to love it forever. There are going to be those moments where you're
That's so
absolutely
true.
going to hate it.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Gosh, I appreciate the honesty. It's so true. And I know, what do we got? About 20 more minutes. TikTok is suggesting that we take a break, but I there's like you've been on the live for 90 minutes to go take a break. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know they did that. This is
Oh,
probably the
that's
longest
nice.
live I've
I
ever
didn't either.
done. Yes. So your future hood lawyer says that she had her first child she had her child at 17, and she's 33 now, and it took her years to have an identity outside of being a mom.
Yeah.
33 is a magical age, huh? 33, that age
Yeah,
is,
that's the
there's
Jesus
something to
year.
being 33. I wonder if it's,
That's the Jesus year. That's when you should be
that is
coming
it.
into your resurrecting. Yes. Yeah, I call it the resurrection year. Yes.
What were you going to say about it? You're coming, what did you say about
You're coming
33?
into you should have cut came into yourself. Um, so that and back
Mm,
to when you had asked me why now, why did I choose to like speak out on it now? Because I just turned
right.
33. And I know for a fact that this
Wow.
motherhood stuff, it's just not for me. But I did my job, and I'm blessed.
Yes.
I never lack, and I feel like it's because, God knew like this wasn't for me, but she listened and she did what she was supposed to do. So, I'm blessed. You know, my kids are blessed. We don't lack. You know, things are taken care of. Things aren't perfect. Life's
Right.
not perfect.
Right.
It never will be
Exactly.
because of the
Right.
world we live in. But you know, I'm blessed,
Exactly.
and it's because I ultimately I listened.
Yeah, and the thing about not enjoying motherhood doesn't mean that you're not doing a good job. It doesn't mean that you cannot do a good job. It just
Yeah,
simply means you're not enjoying the role. That's all. And we
exactly.
just need to be clear about that. It doesn't say you don't love your children, you don't love your child. It just means that I discovered that this job is not my wheelhouse. Like it's stretching me to the maximum. And the other thing I wanted to point out about raising children is that like you so how do I explain this? You have to I think you also have to know whether or not you're open and flexible
Hmm.
to diversity. And when I say diversity, I'm not talking about race and color. I'm just simply talking about differences
Hmm.
that your child may bring to you. So
Yes.
you have to understand your views and your beliefs, right? That you're okay with, willing to accept, because sometimes your child may come home with something that you don't value or don't believe, but now you're forced
To
to
set
adjust
aside.
and accept everything
Yes.
that your child is bringing to you when you don't believe whatever it is that they're getting ready to do.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. You got to set
And you,
aside once again. You know, sacrificing who you are, sacrificing your
that's it.
beliefs because to accept, you know,
Yes.
X, Y, and Z of
Yes.
said child. And you know, when and one let's bring in the I to bring in the multiples just because I have multiples, then to add in multiple children,
Yes. Yep.
multiple personalities, multiple changes,
Yes.
and having to adjust and adapt to all of um,
Exactly.
those changes. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's a roller coaster. It's
And not to mention mental health issues, right? Or if you
yeah,
get a child that's not as easygoing as you thought, you didn't know you were going to have maybe a difficult child. Then what do
yeah,
you do, right?
exactly.
So we're just talking about motherhood in its simplest form, but then there's all these other variations that you have to think about. Well, what if I get a
Yeah,
kid that needs to be in therapy themselves? What if I have a kid that just continues to make poor choices? Or what if I have a kid that has behavioral issues? What if I have a kid that doesn't do well in school? Like there's so many different things
yeah,
that's why I'm so interested to know what women think about when they think about becoming a mom. Now, a lot of us who did have children at a young age didn't get a chance to think about anything.
yeah,
So that's a disadvantage when
yeah,
you're like I didn't give myself time to think. So
yeah.
that's a whole nother subject. But if you're giving yourself time, you need to think about all these things.
Exactly. And usually it's there it's like there's like the top 5 things to think about like before you become a parent.
Yes,
And then outside of
yes,
those top 5 things, there's the other millions of things are not thought of until you cross them, if you cross them.
exactly,
Um
exactly.
and they tell you to just like enjoy the ride, it will all be worth it. But what about there's plenty of times that it's not worth it. And you know,
Yes,
not every moment is worth it. um
exactly.
and ultimately, what about the parents who end up in nursing homes with their kids never visiting them? Was it worth it? I don't think so. You know, your child's out there
Absolutely.
living their best life, and you're in a nursing
Right.
home, and you get visits once a year and a call
Yes.
maybe twice. So was it worth
Yeah.
it? So
That's that part. That part.
yeah, it's a lot. It's
Yeah. It's so yeah. So I do want to open up if anyone has any questions. We have about like 15 more minutes on the live. So if you have any questions or any comments that you'd like to throw out, to Phaedra or myself, feel free to do so. Let's see. Another comment came in from your future hood lawyer, and she says, "And kids can turn into serial killers. Can you love someone through that?"
Yeah. Yeah, but it's what happened to that unconditional love if if your child becomes
Yes,
a, you know what I mean? What happens to unconditional love there, you
absolutely.
know? Are you gonna unconditionally love your child through that?
Yes, exactly. So, we've talked about some good topics. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, that you think would be helpful? I'm just looking at the comments. Let's see. Okay, yeah, women really need to know the ins and outs of motherhood, not just the cute or the good or the cute. Yes.
Yeah,
Traveling with a
absolutely.
traveling with a toddler is ghetto. That's yeah, I mean that's I didn't travel when I had when my child was a toddler. Let's see. I think I scrolled through most of the comments. Let me see. Yes, we do live in a world where there's just so much happening. That is so true. That's another reason why you need to really think about bringing kids into the world, just because this world is really a hot mess.
Hmm. It's a really hot mess, yeah.
Yes. All right. So KMG says you said you've been, is it stay at home mom? Is that what you're saying? You've been a stay at home mom for the past 10 years and you just turned 40 and now you're finding yourself again. Okay. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you, Cupcake Geisha. Thank you for all the taps and the comments and follows and shares. We appreciate you. Yeah, so I mean we're kind of like, coming to a close. So yeah, I don't know if you have any like final thoughts. I mean, we have about 15 minutes left, and I can certainly leave it open for any questions
Um,
that come through.
Final thoughts would be children are not a legacy. You have to create a legacy for them. I see that too often where people are like, my children are my legacy. No, children are not a legacy. Um, they're not a gift. They're people. They're humans. What they give to the world is a gift. What we have to create the legacy for them. And it starts by building a solid foundation. And like I said in the beginning, the obvious is financial to have that, set into play. There is a live later on today on Facebook about life insurance from the Sunny Boy Project as well, about life
Okay.
insurance and wills and trust and just setting the
Ah,
foundation and creating and starting to create the legacy for your children.
okay.
So, yes, children are not a legacy. We must create a legacy for
Yes.
them. And that is the first step to when you start thinking, hey, I want to have a kid. Think, what kind of legacy am I going to leave behind for them? What am I going to be able to give them
Mm-hmm.
that they can carry on into the
Right.
world to make the world a better place? Because we live here,
Yes.
we're stuck here.
What time? Yeah, what time is the live tonight? I'm gonna go
It's
ahead and
7
follow
o'clock.
them.
It's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be on
Okay.
Facebook Live tonight
Okay.
with the founder and I believe an insurance a financial advisor, insurance representative as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's some great information. I mean, financial literacy is another important factor with with raising children. I'm gonna try. I mean, I do have a session tonight, so I'm gonna try to get on. I'll probably be a little late, but I'm gonna try to get on. So thank you for sharing that.
no problem.
Um, Thank you for your feedback. Yes. So comment came in from KMG8182. She says this was very informative and a relatable live. She enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you. This is our first time going live together, actually, right?
Yes,
We
yes, absolutely.
we just met. So I'm really happy I'm just happy I was scrolling. That's all. You can't find videos if you don't scroll, right?
Yeah,
Um
exactly. Well, I'm glad it
I
popped up
would
on your
just
For You page. I'm glad that
yes,
that
yes,
happened.
yes. I would just, for me, I would just say, pretty much I share the same sentiments as Phaedra, where, you really just want to think about the reasoning for having children. And I hope that the goal for most people is to, like you said, to create a legacy show, because if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? Because if you bring children into a toxic, impoverished environment, then that's what you're giving them. And why would
Exactly.
you do that to another human being? It just doesn't
Exactly.
make sense, right?
Yeah.
They say
Yeah.
make it make sense. Like,
Yeah.
what sense does that make? The
Exactly.
children end up suffering, and children today are very different than children when I was growing up, right? We didn't question what our parents were doing and how they're raising us and
Mhm.
how they're talking. I mean, you've got 12-year-olds coming in and just like, I mean, it blows your mind to hear a 12-year-old tell you that they know that their parents are not parenting them the right way,
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
give
Oh,
you and give you examples
and
like,
give you examples. Yes, absolutely. Earlier today, I was reading something on Facebook. It was a teacher who was getting married, and she asked her students to give her marriage advice. And she was a fifth grade teacher, and she was asking her students to give her marriage advice. And the
mm,
advice that these children were giving her, I all I could think of was, oh wow, my next marriage, I'm gonna go to children and ask them for my marital advice. Like, forget about going to see my pastor, and I'm
right,
gonna go and seek children's marriage advice because they know, like these
they
children,
do.
they know. My daughter can tell you. My daughter's 5, by the way, and she can tell you why she wants to have children. It's not just, I want to have kids because it looks pretty. She can tell you exactly
Yes.
why she wants to have children.
Oh, that's
So
so
these
awesome.
kids nowadays are just, it's not like the children back in the day. They
No,
know they're gonna question. They're going to ask questions, and
they
they want
are.
answers, and they want
Yes,
answers, and they deserve it because
yes.
once I stopped looking at my children as people I control and mine,
That's
and started actually looking at them like people and human beings, it was easier for me to raise them. So
I had a child tell me recently that she believes her parents had children because they wanted to be in control of someone else.
yeah, many
And that's
parents,
the only reason.
many black parents do too. It's the only
That
time where black parents feel in control. When we go out into the world, and
that's
many of us lose that control to a boss, a job, a place.
mhm.
We lose the control of ourselves. So having
Mhm.
kids is the only time many black parents feel like they're in control. So that I've heard a lot of times from parents, black parents,
Yes.
reasons why they've had children is, because, someone that can be just like them, and that, can fetch the remote and they can call on to do things for them, or parents of multiples. Well, I had
Mhm.
another child to take care of the other child, and,
Yep.
so, yeah, it's a curse. Gotta stop. And the only way it can
Please
stop is if
stop.
we keep
Yeah.
having the conversations.
Yes. Please
Yeah.
stop. I was I was on a call with an insurance company the other day, and I was just so frustrated about this claim I was trying to get reimbursed for, and I'm like, please stop, just stop. And I say that just because that sometimes I just want to get on TikTok and I want to just like say exactly how I feel, and sometimes I
Hmm.
don't want to say it nicely. Sometimes I just want to say, please stop the BS. Like you said, can we? I don't know. I mean, I know sometimes people's lives get interrupted, but I sometimes just want to get on TikTok and just be so raw.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
emotional, so I have to check myself and say, okay, wait a minute, you're emotional right now. Don't get on TikTok right now because you're not going to sound like a
Yeah.
therapist if you get up here and say how you feel.
You gonna be,
But
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no, I think that yeah, that's another good point. And so that's something that I'm going to continue to work on, trying to work with parents like that who feel like they need to exert their power and not allow their child to be an individual. And if they do anything outside of what their expectations are, then something's wrong with the child. Don't tell the child that they're not going to have a future because they don't do things the way you want them to do it. Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
you're not going to turn out to be nothing. You're not going to. Why would you say that? So I have to. My thing about I just, again, being a therapist, I will say this: it is hard to sometimes be objective, and it's hard to, when you're working with children, it's hard to leave the emotion out of it. It's so hard
Hmm.
because you want to
It
you
is.
want to help the kid, you want to protect them, you want it to stop.
Yes.
But because there's parents involved, you're really just like this outside person that really doesn't have any real ability to make a change.
Yeah.
It's a horrible
And when
place
you
to be.
know better, you just want to
Yeah,
like, you just want to shake the parent, like, because you know better, and you know, like,
yes,
maybe they just don't know better right now, and they need to
yes,
be, taught it, and you just want to shake them and
exactly.
just yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
I get that.
yes. Oh, so this has been awesome. I really really enjoyed this conversation.
Me
I guess
too.
next time when I guess the person that wanted to come in left. They've been following me for some time, so I don't really know like what um, what their position is. I don't know because I've never gone live with that person. But next time I'll try to, I guess, move a little faster when I get that request. I didn't even know what it was.
Okay.
But definitely, yeah, definitely happy to have other people join our conversation if we decide to, continue doing a live in the near future. I think that would be great to have other people's perspectives and really open up this conversation and just let's just get talking
Yeah,
so that we
yeah,
can start the healing
absolutely.
process. Yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's some, yeah,
yes,
we have to start the healing process. And
exactly.
somebody had said in the comments on one of the videos, well, who is going to have them? Well, obviously women. We're the only
Right.
ones that can't have them. But there's
Yes,
conversations that need to be had before we place that position on women.
right.
There's conversations that need to be had. I was saying on Facebook the other day, I think we need to adopt China's rule on fertility. I think we, for a while, for a little bit, we should adopt China's rule
Listen,
on fertility. Yeah, I
I've
think.
had that conversation too. I said I must be in the wrong country because I listen because I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
no, I think I'm in the wrong country.
There's no
So,
regulation. There's no management of any sort
mm-mm,
in this country.
mm-mm. And then we
And we
want to
want to
get
know
rid
why.
of everything. We want to get rid of, all of these programs and all of these resources. And then we have
Exactly.
a horrible economy system. And it's just like
Yes.
something. We gotta work out the system because it's a very, very
Yes.
bad system.
It
And then
is.
to go and I'm pro choice, pro mind your business. It's not your body. Um,
Yes. Me
but
too.
I'm also pro send the fetus back to Jesus. Go ahead, send it on, send it on. Go ahead
Listen.
and abort mission. Abort it. I'm very pro that, because we just don't live in the world where we should be bringing children into right now. We
Now,
don't.
are you a Christian? I know you referenced God earlier. Are you do you identify as a
I'm,
Christian
I don't
or
identify
believer
as a
or
Christian. I don't identify as
okay.
a Christian. I do believe in Jesus Christ. I do believe in the powers of Yeshua. But
Yes.
I don't serve, and I'm not a Christian.
Okay. I'm only asking because I do identify as a Christian, but I also believe and here's the thing, that this is a conflict about what I'm getting ready to say, right? This is a conflict because from a Christian standpoint, you're not supposed to believe in a, you're not supposed to support abortion.
Yeah.
But I believe in pro-choice.
Okay.
Right? No, yes, yeah, pro-choice. The woman has a right to choose whatever they decide to do for
Yes,
themselves.
absolutely.
I just do because you can't. I just don't believe in that standpoint that abortion is wrong. Don't do it. You're murdering. You're killing. No, 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 no. Because if you're so against that, then you need to make sure you need to partner with this mom, and you need to help her for the next 18 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. We've done protests outside of, the Planned Parenthoods, against,
Mm-hmm.
the protesters that are there, for pro-life.
Right.
And that's one of the things that is often said. You're screaming pro-life, but once this child is born, you want nothing to do with it. You
Right.
guys want to get rid of the systems and the resources that are put in place for
Right.
um, for mothers and for parents, and for all of these things. So, I myself, me
Yes.
personally, I do not do abortions. But that's just
Mm-hmm.
because I know mentally that's something that mentally I could not handle. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but
Some people
I,
can't handle that. That's true.
yes, but I support abortions more than I support um giving birth, having the children. Because it is something that you really do have to, you really do sit there and think of, like, do I support
Right.
the women who use abortion as contraceptive? Absolutely not. But it's
Yes.
one of those things that you're not just gonna, you thought about this.
Right.
Even when you go to have the abortion, you just don't walk in, sign a piece of paper, and then walk in the back and then get the abortion. There's a process,
Mm-hmm.
there's a step, because they want you to think about it. They want you to
Right.
make sure that this is something that you want to do, and that
Right.
everything that comes with having this abortion. Um,
Absolutely.
I feel when women go and have an abortion, they think about it more than women who actually go to have a baby. They've thought about that decision much more.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so true. So on that note, I mean, this again, great conversation. I do see some interest in future conversations from some of the individuals that are commenting, and yeah, you and I, we can stay in contact and and see what
Absolutely.
happens. All right.
I did. I just seen that comment. Oh, I seen that
Yeah, I
comment.
was like, I saw
Did
it
you
too. I
have
was
your
like, oh my
tubes
god.
tied? I sure did, girl.
Oh,
I
you
sure
nice.
did, baby.
Okay.
Well, at that point, my last child, I was
Yes.
already separated from my ex-husband
Right.
when I gave birth to him. So I knew I was not
Right.
having any more children, just because I knew I was on the
Wow.
way to divorce. So I knew I was
Exactly.
done. So yeah, I sure did.
Wow, that's huge. Okay. So even down the road, if you
Yes.
meet somebody, I don't know how you feel about that, but you're like, that's just, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah,
Like
no,
this
I
is
tell
it.
my
Yeah.
partner now, who does want one child of his own. He does not have any. But I
Right.
tell him now, we would have to do a surrogate. Although, it hasn't been long, and there is that
Yeah.
reversal percentage, if I wanted to go
Yes.
and get the bun tied, and the
Yes.
reversal percentage. But even if I could have children, I've completed my mission. I don't have to have any more. I've done what I was supposed
Yes.
to do. So he would have to find a surrogate. And just the mother
Yes.
that I know that I am, I give my all, I give my complete body, and I'm not giving
Yes.
my body to another person again.
Right.
So yeah, it won't
Okay.
happen. Shop closed.
Okay. Yes, I see. Yeah, she says I'm done too. Shop closed.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time. And
Thank
I
you
appreciate
for
everyone
having
who
me.
joined us. Yes, because you could have been anywhere else, but you hung out with us, and we appreciate you. So, um, stay tuned. Also, check out our videos and our content, and we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Alrighty. Thank you for having
All
me.
right.
All
Yes.
right.
Thank
You have a
you.
great day.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you. Let me see.